Okay, I've got something for you. The new parts have been fitted to the car. The simulation numbers are good, so look forward to your feedback. Check out the details.
Welcome back to more F1 2016. We've got the chassis weight reduction that we did back in Monaco. It's ready for the car here for Canada, and I can only offer my apologies for the delay in uploads. Had a little bit going on, bit here and there, but we're back for more F1 2016. We're in the Haas. Last time out, it was the Monaco Grand Prix, and we proved that Daniel Ricciardo was beatable. For the first time in the season, the Australian man in the Red Bull lost out as we won the Monaco Grand Prix. Now, things are probably going to be very different this time out in Canada. There's more opportunity to overtake. It's less crowded and in the barriers. So, we've got to take the most of those opportunities that we get in Monaco, because we're probably not going to see that many more points opportunities, as it were. But Canada's a good track. I do enjoy it, driving around the Canada circuit, and I'm glad that I think they've signed an extension on the deal on their F1 to like 2029 or something stupid. So I'm happy to see that. Figured out the issues with the car to some point. So with it being Canada, I'm going to need to take advantage of the high speed corners and the high speed straights. So with that in mind, I've got a very low drag setup on this weekend. This is Q1. This is the end of the first lap. Figured run the ultra softs because the car's not the best, and therefore we're probably not going to be getting out of Q1 with a lot of ease. So heading down towards the final chicane. This is a little bit tricky, and you're probably going to see some questionable taking of it over the weekend. That was me got the entry a little bit wrong, but figured the exit was a lot better. Charging towards the line, we go 14.2. That put us sixth at the time. I did do another run, and we actually got 9th. If I get it hooked up around Canada, we're definitely looking a lot better than you would expect. But obviously the AI are going to be holding a few little things back. So I mean, 9th in Q1's great, but that doesn't really account for anything. It just means that we actually got through into Q2. But I was surprised with our pace, and as I say, that low drag, especially when you get the DRS opened up, you're going to be flying down that back straight. Get that chicane cut nicely. Not taking the piss, but, cut nicely. You're going to carry a lot of speed through the straight, and you're going to make up a lot of time through that sort of section there. And Canada's it's a fun circuit. I love it. I genuinely do. It's one of my top 5 on the calendar. Easily has to be. So here we go. We come up. This is the end of the Q2 lap. We do a 14.4. That puts 5th at that time. That one wasn't very good. Obviously, we're 2/10 down on what we had done in Q1. So we clearly had some improvements to make. And here you see this is the end of the first sector coming through to the second. Now, Delta is up, but we're slowly losing time throughout the lap. I think we're going to be cutting momentarily through. We'll be going down the back straight. This chicane here has caused me a lot of issues over the weekend. You can see now as we get near to the end of the lap, we're half a second up, and we got the first bit of the chicane pretty good. The exit not so much, but charging towards the line, Delta flying up, and we go 8.5 tenths faster with a 13.6, and that puts us 4th. And we just by 27 thousandths of a second snuck it through to Q3, which was very surprising, I have to say. But the Red Bulls again look to be the team to beat, which is interesting with their Renault engine. They you wouldn't expect them to be so fast on the straights, but they're doing all right. And Jolyon Palmer, the guy who replaced me at Renault, is definitely doing a service there in 6th place. So I mean, they might be testing out some kind of low drag sort of setup for this weekend. I know that's what I was running on the Haas, which meant corners were a bit more difficult. But it was worth it. And obviously I did run in Q3 because, well, why wouldn't I? But I only did 1 lap. I was just curious to see what sort of time I could do. So here we go. We're coming down the back straight. Hamilton was fastest, but now Ricciardo with a 1:12.5. Not really within our sort of touching distance. Depends on how we take the final chicane. He'll brake just before the 100-meter board. We go deep. Have to take a lot of curb. That delays our acceleration. Straight to the right-hand side for the shortest possible route. We go, and it's a 13.9. That's not a good lap. Not a good lap at all at this point of the weekend. But, it's just one of those things where we were probably 10th was the best we could hope for. Think we were 9th in Q1. We were 10th in Q2. So we're probably going to get 10th in Q3. But, something can always happen. Now, look at Monaco. It started raining in Q3 and we got, 3rd place on the grid. But that was qualifying for Canada. interesting one to go ahead. 35 laps of the Gilles Villeneuve circuit coming up. And it's always an interesting one for strategy. Obviously, we have the Ultra Soft tyre here again this weekend. So that will be something to watch out for. And a lot of different strategies that can be employed by varying teams. But I think pretty much I've said enough. And we should now be looking forwards and going to the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix. So the Canadian Grand Prix. It's going to throw up some interesting weather by the looks of things. If you see sort of, 3/4 of the way through, we're going to get some light rain. Obviously, we have to start on the Ultra Softs because that was part of our strategy. The mandatory tyre for the race is the soft compound. So my strategy here is thinking start on the Ultra Soft, swap to a set of soft tyres, hope to be able to go to the rain period. So we only have to make 2 stops in this race. Obviously, if not, then we can swap over to the Ultra Soft to be as fast as possible. But, this is a circuit that's thrown up some surprises. 2011, Button's ridiculous drive in the wet in the longest Formula 1 race in history. Lewis Hamilton's maiden win in 2007. He said he's a big fan of the Canada circuit. We've been promoted to 9th, so someone did something naughty in practice, as it would appear to look like here. But the first few corners are going to be interesting. Going into the scrapping away, especially with all the activity that can be happening into the final chicane. A lot of guys setting up for opportunities to overtake into turn 1. It's always tense the start of a Canadian Grand Prix with all the walls and all the chicanes in the early part of things as we get very close to Bottas as we come around the circuit. Just taking in more of the formation lap this sort of time. This is the bit where it's the calm before the storm that you guys don't really see, but we've now built 2 5 red lights and the Canadian Grand Prix is underway. Initially bogging down a little bit. Bottas got a good start. Perez pretty slow, so we're going to move over to the inside. Take it nice and cautiously. Try not to lose any of our front wing. We did wheel bang Perez a little bit. On the outside of turn 2, Perez going sideways. We've had a collision with him. We got a warning. Around the outside, up into 7th. We're trying to out-drag Valtteri. Bottas, can we get him into the chicane? No. Think better of it. Hold the brakes. And Bottas sneaks through into 6th position now. At the end of the first lap, we are coming down the long back straight towards the chicane. We're in the slipstream of the Williams. Mercedes power versus the Ferrari. We've got the low drag. Look at the gain we're getting as we get to near the end of the straight. Just not close enough to Bottas. But Rosberg and Vettel are going at it hammer and tongs through the chicane. They've slowed themselves up. Bottas with a bad run. Go for the gap. There's barely there. Wheel on the grass. Coming towards turn 1. We've got the Mercedes. Can we get the Ferrari? We tap the side pod ever so slightly. Vettel holds the inside line. For turn 2, he's going to get better acceleration out the corner, but we do get Bottas, who also passes Nico Rosberg. So we're up into 5th on lap 2 of the Canadian Grand Prix, and we're setting ourselves up nicely here. We've made good advancement through the field, 4 places. 5th place will give us 10 points. Look at us, we're going round the outside a couple of laps later as we're fighting the Williams, as the Ferrari of Vettel had caught up to the cars of Verstappen and Hamilton up the front. Daniel Ricciardo is now leading this Grand Prix. And we're going to see Jolyon Palmer here with a horrendous engine failure coming through the chicane just at the end of the first sector. That did bring out a virtual safety car at the end of lap 6. So you can see Ricciardo leading, Hamilton 2nd, Verstappen 3rd, Vettel in 4th, myself in 5th. And based upon what's happened before with the VSCs, we saw in Monaco we took advantage. I figured it would be best for ourselves to do that here. We weren't predicted to make a stop until around about lap 8 or 9, but we're coming in at the end of lap 6 because of the virtual safety car, because the guys have to stick to a delta. It's going to be more beneficial to us to make the pit stop now, as we're going to make up more time. So we fit the soft compound tyre, 2.9 by the Haas boys. DRS's enable is going to be very important to get ahead of this big pack that have just come through the start-finish straight as we go down. Cold tyres, marbles on the exit. Can we out-drag Danny Kvyat going towards the chicane? I think we've just about managed to get him there as we go around. Can we go around the outside of the Toro Rosso? Just about. Squeeze him on the apex. That was beautiful. It was imperative that we got ahead of them. Otherwise, we would have lost so much time scrapping with them as they're also on the soft tyres and they last a while around this Canadian circuit. Look at these shots. Danny Kvyat almost having us, but just not having the balls to hold more speed into that chicane. Here it is on board with the Toro Rosso driver. You can see him squeeze us out. We got a better drive out of turn 2 because of the wider line. He was more ballsy into the corner, but he pinched himself a little bit and he had to give us the space. But credit where credit's due. He put up a fight and I was worried for a brief moment there. But now we're looking to make up time as we come through the field. This is lap 9. Perez now ahead of us. We are now the lead soft compound runner. And we're coming through now the first sector. Pascal Wehrlein's out of the race. I saw yellow flags flash up. Danny Kvyat's out of the race. What the hell has happened behind us? Bear in mind, these are the guys that we just came out ahead of. So Pascal Wehrlein's got to make a move on Kvyat. Oh, he's caught him. Huge accident going into turn 1. That's 3 cars at least involved. There's smoke. There's braking marker boards have exploded. We're going to need a closer look at what happened. Wehrlein in the slipstream. Oh, he's gone to go to the right. He's got his front wing caught on the rear wheel. He's ruined the suspension on that Manor, and he's brought Jenson Button McLaren around, who was just sitting behind them there. Here we're going to get the look from Jenson Button's perspective on board. Wehrlein with the DRS open. He slowed down initially, Jenson. He was just unfortunate as the Manor was coming across the track. It just caught onto him a little bit. So he's lost a lot of time. He's not out of the race. Here it is from Danny Kvyat's backwards perspective. He's getting spun round. He's had a wheel ripped off the front of his car. So has Wehrlein. And that's both drivers well and truly out of this Grand Prix. So it's now the end of lap 10. This was, the lap where a lot of guys were predicted to be making their pit stops. So we're coming through the final chicane now. You can see there are cars in the pit lane. We take the curbs heavily there because we need to be making up a lot of time because, of course, the pit lane exit here in Canada, you can make a position even when you thought you've lost it. So we come through turn 1 now. Ricciardo is the car ahead of us on circuit, who was the race leader, and we've jumped Lewis Hamilton. So we are now in a net second place of this Canadian Grand Prix because the order before the pit stops was Ricciardo, Hamilton, Verstappen, Vettel and myself. So Hamilton now behind us. You would assume Verstappen's going one more lap due to the fact that Ricciardo has already come in. But now, at the end of lap 11, Hamilton with that Mercedes power unit is going to be coming past us. He was in the slipstream. He's going to have a look into the chicane. He's gone very tight on the inside. We've had to take avoiding action to avoid an incident there. And it was an illegal move because I did take far too much curve. So we let Hamilton back through. That's going to give Vettel a sniff into turn 1 because he's carrying so much more speed. We hold the inside line. That turns to the inside for Vettel, but I cut him off. And frustratingly, due to that hold of position and that need to lift off the throttle and give it back to Hamilton, Verstappen's come out ahead and he's scrapping with Hamilton. He might have made it through on the Mercedes drive, but we're going to make a big diving move into the chicane. Can we get through on Verstappen, get it slowed down? Yes, we can. Cut him off. That's also allowed Vettel to get through. And what a diving move that was. It was important to make, otherwise we were just going to drop back. But annoyingly, we've lost that to Hamilton, who did get past us. But as I say, sort of had to take the curbs for avoiding action. Didn't want to cause too much of an incident there. I was happy to give the place back, but it may have cost us in the long run. Lap 12 now. Vettel just comes screaming past us into the chicane. We're going to try and hold it if we can. Vettel takes a lot of curb on the inside. We also then take a lot of curb on the exit, and we've managed to fend him off, almost sending him into the wall of champions, as it were, as we're now up into 4th. So we've still got Ricciardo. Looks like a Williams up ahead. That would be Massa, probably, who started on the soft tyres in P10. So he set himself up nicely to be a factor in this race. Hamilton looks to have got past him now by lap 15. So the order now is Ricciardo, Hamilton, Massa, myself, although Verstappen's going to have a good look into this second chicane. He's slowed it down very early, though. We're going to go right around the outside of him through that second sector chicane. Verstappen too tight on entry. That's a fast chicane, so you can't be taking the corner too tight or you're going to impact yourself. But we've unfortunately gone very deep into the chicane, into the hairpin at the beginning of the final sector. That's going to give Verstappen a good run on us, and he's going to get right in our slipstream by the looks of things. And you can see it by the indicator as he's closing, naturally moving to the inside line to try and defend ourselves. Verstappen, though, car pulls ahead of us now. Can we send a move down the inside of the final chicane? Yes, we can. Don't give them the opportunity to turn in on us. And we retain our 4th position as we now move on to lap 16 of the Canadian Grand Prix. But we are dropping back from the guys ahead. Clearly, the difference in our pace on the soft tyre. Our car clearly prefers the softer, faster compounds. Verstappen now goes ahead of us. Rosberg with immense straight line speed in the slipstream of that Red Bull looks to go through as well. Verstappen's well and truly done us there. He was so far ahead. We've managed to retain the position against Nico Rosberg, but I'm pretty sure if Verstappen wasn't in his way, he would have just breezed past us as well. Not too sure what's going on with our setup at this point. We're just not getting the drive at the final corner to utilise our low drag setup because cars behind us are already in our slipstream, which is so powerful on this game. They're just screaming straight past us, but nearly the halfway point at the end of this lap will be at the halfway point of this Grand Prix. We've lost out to Verstappen, who's now pulling away from us. We're again going very wide and very deep into the hairpin. Rosberg's going to get a very good run on us here. He nearly got it out of the chicane. Thankfully, we picked up a bit of traction somewhere. But look at the extra speed. He's gone straight past us, especially with the DRS open. That Mercedes, such a powerful car. We're going to sort of feint a look down the inside, but Rosberg's locked up. He locked up, took too much curb on the second part of the chicane, and we managed to almost scare him into an error there, which was quite fortunate because, I mean, we just sort of feinted a look down the inside, but Rosberg clearly took it as a serious threat to us. But one lap later, and Rosberg, I don't think he's going to be making the same mistake this time, as he once again just breezes straight past us. Coming into the chicane, we feint the look again. Oh, this is audacious from us. Very, very audacious move. We got stuck behind him, and Rosberg didn't outbrake himself that time, but still tried to give us some room. He clunked over the curbs a little bit, and we got stuck behind him as he sort of brushed the wall of champions. We're lucky to have come away with no damage there, but Rosberg definitely has got something. He hit the wall pretty hard. And now Vettel, from out of absolutely nowhere, due to the slow speed that we carried through, has screamed past us. And now we're down into 7th. These soft tyres just aren't working on this car. The front runners have now, look, that's Ricciardo now going towards the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit. We've lost out so much time. And now Vettel's got far ahead of us. Raikkonen is now going to come past as well. At this point, we're like a stone being dropped from a height. We're just falling down the field. Thankfully, we managed to keep it from Raikkonen going into this chicane. It's clearly the hotspot of the action this afternoon. But the cloud cover is coming now at the Canadian Grand Prix. So you've got to think that rain's going to be coming sooner rather than later. We are now we're on lap 20 of 35. Raikkonen's going to have a look down the inside of the actual hairpin itself at the end of the second sector. And he's done us on traction there. And the detection point is before the hairpin. So Raikkonen's also going to get the DRS. We're going to have the slipstream. We pull out early. Realise that's not enough. We're going to go in for a second bite of the cherry on the slipstream. Here we come into the chicane. We've situated ourselves nicely. Got a good bit of curb. Decent run through the chicane. Get through on Raikkonen, who appears to be very hampered on the exit there. But everyone else's cars, our low drag setup isn't benefiting us in the first 2 sectors now. I focused it solely on the 3rd sector, so we'd be better in a straight line. But everywhere else, it's hampering us. 21, Raikkonen's got ahead. We get the slipstream again. We're going to break. Oh, Raikkonen's gone very deep into the chicane. He's made contact. Yellow flags, safety car. Raikkonen's hit the wall of champions and he's out of the Grand Prix. What the hell has happened there? That all happened so quickly. We're going to need another look at that. So we've pulled out. Raikkonen goes deep. It was sort of a half look. He's gone across the curbs of the chicane, where of course his car's going to get airborne. He's not going to be able to turn. So this is something we're going to need to see from multiple angles there. There was one from behind. Here's a look going through the chicane. We're not going to be able to tell much from this perspective. All we see is Raikkonen get a lot of curb, and it's difficult to see what happens. So here we go, on board with Kimi Raikkonen. So he goes deep. He then just takes a lot of curb and kind of makes the attempt to turn after going over the curb, at which point it's far too late. Here we're going to see it in a super slow-mo. So you see, he's not going to make the corner there. So he sort of doesn't turn. He sort of turns there, straightens the wheel going over the curb, which is going to have no effect on the car whatsoever, and turns sort of as we're coming past him. And then, well, he's gone into our side pod, gone round, and obviously he's hit the wall of champions. It's taken his wheel off. Here it is from ourselves. No contact made with Raikkonen at any point. We take the curb. We're already lined up and going through as we should be. Raikkonen over the curb can't turn at this point, and I can't really put the blame on anyone because he went deep. He tried to turn but had no luck. So I'd say it's a racing incident personally. You can see now 23. I've had to cut to it very quickly after the slow-mos. The rain is coming down and the safety car is out. Now, it's not very wet at the moment, but I'm making a very bold call to fit the intermediate tyres in this pit stop. This is around the point of the race where they said it was going to rain. We're going to fit the tyres. We're going to join the back of the safety car queue. And we're going to see what happens. Look, we were falling through the field, and I needed to roll the dice. Unfortunately, I sort of rolled out the pit lane exit onto the grass. Absolutely no grip on those marbles. And the track being a bit too dry for these tyres. But needed to roll the dice. You saw we were just dropping like a stone down the field. No, we're sitting in 14th place out of the 18 runners behind Alonso. Alonso now pits in his McLaren. The rain's getting heavier. No one else peels in as of yet. We sort of pitted as the safety car not was deployed, but you know, it was like the next time around. And all the leaders are staying out on super softs and ultra softs, and you can only assume the rain's going to get heavier. That or it's gonna die off, unless they know something. I don't. But by the end of lap 25, there's clearly enough visible water on this circuit to warrant it. And now look, everyone's diving in. They're all going in the pits. And as such, we're promoted up the field. Look, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd place. 2 cars left ahead of us, Verstappen and Rosberg, because for some reason, the top teams do not want to double stack. So now these guys have got to do another lap on the soft tyre. And look at them, they're crawling out of turn 2. Us, better grip, right tyre, steam straight past them. That's us up into the lead of the Canadian Grand Prix on lap 26. 10 laps to go, including the one we're on. And the fortune has changed drastically. This is now the end of lap 26. Carlos Sainz in the Toro Rosso is in 2nd place. And Fernando Alonso in the McLaren is in 3rd. Alonso, you saw as the rain was coming down, Alonso was ahead of us. He peeled into the pit to fit the inters. I imagine Sainz was behind us and did the same. It's now the end of lap 29, and it's exactly the same as it was. I didn't really pull out much of a gap. They didn't really close on me. It was very, we were just doing the same lap times. I will say, due to the setup on this car, it was very difficult to maintain a constant calm rhythm. And you can see by the end of lap 34, it had pretty much dried up. The odd sort of spit here and there. Alonso did manage to get past Sainz, but I've got one final unedited lap of the Grand Prix to go, and I just sort of wanting to sit back and just say what a race. We were looking very strong at the beginning, DRS enabled, so it is the crossover point, but it's the final lap, so no one's really going to pit. We looked strong at the start on the ultra softs, and then when we switched to the softs, we just fell through the field. I don't know whether the extra laps on our tyres which hurt us that much. They shouldn't have done. And obviously what happened with Kimi is it can only be seen as a racing incident. He went wide over the curbs. He couldn't turn. It's not as if he tried to hit me. It's not as if I tried to take him out. So, and then we fit the intermediate tyres in possibly the strategy call of the year. And then by the time the safety car ended, it was wet enough, and we inherited the lead from 14th place. You can see struggling on the grip as we come up behind. I believe that's Felipe Nasr to lap him. I just want to say very quickly, I don't actually have the end scenes here, so, the end scenes like the post ones that I normally use, the footage corrupted, so that was annoying. And I just want to say a quick thank you for 250 subscribers and 40,000 channel views. They were 2 goals hit very recently. And we're now going to come through the final chicane for the final time as we head towards the line to win the Canadian Grand Prix. What a race that was. What a race. It was crazy. I just did a brief recap there, so haven't really got many words, but what a win. That's 2 in a row for us now as we now build towards the middle of the season. Guys, thank you very much for watching this Canadian Grand Prix. I'm looking to have these up a little bit more frequently coming in the near future. We return to the streets of Baku next time out. Didn't like it last year, but we did get our first win, so, you know, hit and miss. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed and hit subscribe to be enabled about them notifications. I will see you all next time.